Dragon and Vegapunk may have just kicked off the final war. I know a lot of One Piece fans expect the final war to start in Elbaf, but maybe the final war has already started. Maybe Elbaf isn't the starting point to the Great War Oda has told us about. What if the starting point of that war is actually Mariejois, or I guess the Holy Land? And honestly, this would be a great way to kick off the war. We know Emu most likely could be Luffy's final villain, either Emu or Blackbeard, but let's just go with Emu for now. Well, besides up until now in Elbaf, we haven't seen Emu do much of anything. But I think maybe a war kicking off in Mariejois, that could actually make Emu get up and make a major move. Because before the turmoil, Emu was just sitting back looking at people cause chaos throughout the One Piece world. But Emu was looking at it like, I don't care, it's not my place. But anyway, let me get to why I said Dragon and Vegapunk may have just kicked off the final war. In the recent One Piece chapters, we found out that Mariejois is being attacked by some unknown individual. Some fans speculate it's Blackbeard, some fans speculate it's Dragon. I've even heard people say it could be the man marked by flames. But what if I told you maybe all of those answers are incorrect? What if the threat to Mariejois actually was an internal threat? I'm about to break it down. So it all started when Dragon decided to make his moves against the Celestials. And I don't mean by attacking them. Remember, one of Dragon's goals was to cut off their food supply. This was actually a direct way to attack the Celestials without actually causing physical harm. And there could also be a deeper meaning why Dragon didn't want to attack the Celestials directly, because we know he pretty much has the power to do so. So now I pretty much told you what Dragon did to start the war. I know it may sound small at first, but you'll get why I say it's pretty major. And this was Dragon cut off the food supply to the Celestials. Now let's move on to Vegapunk. In the manga during Vegapunk's broadcast, he was telling a lot of information about the world's history. And it just so happened when he was telling this information, we got to see different points of view of the world. So it turns out in the Holy Land, even though they are celestial dragons and considered higher than Tao, even they don't know the true history of the world. And we actually saw a scene where I think it was Charlotte's sister. She was saying that she didn't know the history of the world. And this small detail was actually major, because if the Celestials knew the true history of the world, would they really be doing what they were taught to do by their ancestors or the ones that came before them? Even though a lot of Celestials are bad, we know there are a few good ones among the group. Doflamingo's dad was a pretty good Celestial. His brother turned out to be a pretty good Celestial. He helped Law. We know the Nefertari family could have been Celestials, but they decided not to stay in the Holy Land. But what if they did stay in the Holy Land? Would they be so peaceful and kindful as they are today? This is what I think that small detail meant. If the current Celestials knew their true history, would they be so grateful-hearted and hateful towards regular people? Now that I've explained how Dragon cut out the Celestials' food supply and how Vegapunk instilled the idea of the world's true history into the Celestials' head, let me combine all these together and explain how they kicked out the final war. So in the final war of One Piece, we expect Luffy to gain many allies that we didn't even know would join his team. We've seen plenty memes of Kaido coming back, but Kaido wouldn't come back as one of Luffy's enemies. He would come back as the ally of Joy Boy, which is currently Luffy. So if we're going with the assumption that Luffy will gain new allies in the final war to make it this massive war, what if Luffy were able to gain some celestial allies as well? And how might you do that, you wonder? Well, I've just explained it. Vegapunk instilled the idea in the Celestials' brain that the true history of the world may not be what they have been taught. And also, a dragon cut off their food supply. So how are they going to eat food? Because we know even though celestial dragons stay in the Holy Land, there's still a hierarchy system. So by chance, if there are any small food rations left, it wouldn't go to the regular celestials. It would probably go to the royal families. You know, the families like the Figureland family and etc. So if there's no more food to eat, what do you think the average person or the average celestial will do? They will then venture to the surface world, as the Gorosei call it, to find food. So also they have the idea in their head that the history that they've been taught is kind of wrong. So maybe while they're venturing to find food, they could also look to try to find some truth to the history of the world. Now, I'm not saying they'll go full on Nico Robin and find poneglyphs, but you know, kind of keep her ear open. And we know if you decide to leave the Holy Land, you can't come back, as we've seen with Doflamingo's family. So this will in turn cause a huge uproar. This is why I think all the commotion is about currently in the Holy Land. I don't think it's Dragon or the man marked by flames attacking Mariejois. I honestly highly believe it could be an internal conflict within the Holy Land of Mariejois. Maybe some Celestials decided to venture out, or maybe they want to find the true history of the world, and they could just be rampaging or causing chaos in the Holy Land. But then again, I don't know, I'm just making a theory. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this theory.